This cheeseburger, loaded fries with bacon, and milkshake are made entirely out of plants and non-dairy products.
I think we're happiest when a lot of people come in and they don't even really realize what they're eating is plant-based. You know, we're not trying to trick people.
Sophia started this fast food restaurant which is fully vegan, but you'd never know it from its exterior because in this surfer town on the island of Bali, Indonesia, vegan restaurants are kind of the norm. While vegetarian options are often an afterthought for restaurants in most cities, Canggu is fast becoming a paradise for plant-based food. Innovative restaurants that serve vegetarian and vegan are popping up everywhere you look. And as part of my journey exploring the future of food, I'm attempting a vegetarian diet for the next 21 days. A daunting prospect as I eat meat in most of my meals.
I didn't know there could be so many options in vegan cuisine.
Besides talking to restaurant owners and people choosing to become vegan, I'm also meeting former vegans too, to find out how the trillion-dollar food industry is evolving, and if this is just a fad, or is it the future of food? While Plant Cartel is technically a vegan restaurant, Sophia wants to change the stigma that vegan food is just for vegans. In fact, the word vegan isn't even mentioned on the menu board.
That stigma of tofu, vegan food, you know, it's not here. We wanted to normalize plant-based food and we wanted to encourage both omnivores and vegans to come and eat here. You've got to nail the cheeseburger.
Many of the comfort food staples here are made in-house of seitan, a popular meat replacement made out of wheat gluten. Here, the cheese is made from carrot and potato. Bacon is made out of eggplant. And of course, they've been able to recreate their version of the hot dog.
When you're eating, a lot of the experience is the visual smell, sight, it's really important. So I think all those factors were, you know, something to consider when we were doing the menu development. Of course, it has to taste good, but it has to look like a cheeseburger. It has to look like a hot dog.
And I have to admit, the taste comes pretty close to the real thing.
Cheesy fries are hard to resist.
She hopes that by creating everyday staples out of plants, it'll inspire people to rethink the amount of meat they need to consume. Meatless alternatives are gaining traction globally. According to Good Food Institute, retail sales of plant-based food in the US grew by 17% last year and is worth over $4.1 billion. Globally, the alternative meat market may be worth $140 billion in the next 10 years, which may threaten the $1.4 trillion global meat market. Companies like Impossible Foods and Beyond Meat, which recently went public and has a market capitalization of over $1 billion, are making plant-based protein products for the masses, and it appears promising. Fast food chains like Carl's Jr. and White Castle have introduced vegetarian burgers on their menu, while Burger King is rolling out meatless Impossible Whoppers at its more than 7,000 locations in the US. In London, salad and sandwich chain Pret Manger is testing vegetarian-only locations, while co-working company WeWork said it will no longer reimburse its 6,000 employees for meals containing meat. Numerous celebrities such as Beyoncé and Jay-Z are also promoting plant-based diets, but as meatless meat options soar, critics argue there's no conclusive evidence that it's better for you than real meat.
We can't really market it, however, as necessarily better for you because we don't know, because we have a lack of nutrition science in this country that's a part of our medical system. So some people eat it, it certainly won't hurt you, it can be very tasty, but it doesn't mean it's better for you.
Globally, there are multiple campaigns to promote the vegetarian diet, such as the Veganuary movement, which drew a record 250,000 people worldwide pledging to be vegan in January, and the Meatless Monday movement, which was founded in 2003. Despite the rise of these movements, though, make no mistake, global meat consumption is still on the rise, driven in part by countries like China, which has a booming middle class. Globally, the average amount of meat consumption has nearly doubled over the past 50 years. Yet, some countries like the UK might have reached meat peak. 1 in 3 people in the UK say they've stopped or reduced eating meat. As part of my 3-week journey as a vegetarian, I'm discovering the popularity of local vegan cuisine in Bali.
I'll have some of the green beans in front of you there.
William is from London and now living in Bali. He's been a vegetarian for 8 months, but this week he's transitioning to becoming a vegan.
And dinner parties can be, you know, someone's got to cook something special for you, so you do feel like that guy.
To aid his transition, he's come to Canggu.
For me, I think it's a really nice place to start being a vegan, to develop the habits of being a vegan. Then when I do leave and go somewhere that's more challenging, I'm not going to quit or give up the veganness because it's entrenched within me. So I'd actually say if you want to start being vegan, you find it too hard in London, wherever you live, come here. Because obviously in Canggu, it's the easiest place in the world to become a vegan.
A week after I cut meat out of my own diet, I'm definitely feeling a bit different. A little lighter, but I'm certainly not convinced this will be a permanent lifestyle change.
There's some really interesting things here that you wouldn't think of as vegan. Kebab capers, shady lasagna.
And with innovative menu items like these, I don't feel deprived like I normally might when picking a vegetarian dish at a meat-heavy restaurant. Next, I'm heading to a vegetarian restaurant called Shady Shack, where I meet Jason, an Australian who says that 6 years ago, he decided to turn vegan basically overnight.
Did you feel different after you switched?
Definitely. I didn't feel good, but that took some time because a lot of people will say, as soon as I go vegan, I felt fantastic. And I think that's a really bad way to lead people into veganism because not everyone feels great when they first change diets.
So how did this surfer town Canggu become such a paradise for plant-based food?
A lot of yogis have come here, and I think it's something that vibe of people tend to agree with, is more so the vegan message, and I think it needs to spread to a lot more people, which is what we're seeing here.
While Jason was inspired to change his diet when thinking about the environment, he thinks everyone needs to do their own research. The world's food system is responsible for about 25% of planet-warming greenhouse gases generated by humans annually. Beef and lamb in general have the biggest climate footprint per gram of protein. Jason says he became vegan mostly for environmental reasons, but a few months after meeting him, he says he's tired of all the labels associated with being vegan and where the movement is heading. He's now planning to slowly reintroduce some animal products back into his diet. He isn't alone. During the course of my 3-week vegetarian diet, I meet some people who were vegan for a while, but ultimately said it wasn't for them.
My skin was definitely acting up when I was hardcore vegan, and I think that's because of all the processed food, or potentially like the soy, all the alternative milks, I don't know, like, or maybe even the faux meats that are processed.
Maria has gone through phases of being vegan, vegetarian, and even pescatarian, someone who doesn't eat meat but does eat fish. Ultimately though, she doesn't want to restrict her choices.
I tried to be vegan most of the time, but I don't like to put a label on it.
Eli experimented with being vegan and said at first he felt lighter, mentally and physically. But 6 months later, he wanted to reintegrate animal protein into his diet.
Once I started reintegrating meat into my diet, I can feel the difference in my body. Like I can see the difference in my body. I'm quite active, I gym a lot, I surf a lot, and I can feel a little more ripped, I guess, ripped or shredded, just I can see it a little more.
I'm learning that food is highly personal, and there's no one-size-fits-all approach to take. The first 2 of 3 weeks here in Canggu are up, and I feel good for sure, but I still crave meat occasionally. My experiment thus far has been easy, especially in a place like Bali, but now I'm headed to Hong Kong. Will I be able to continue with my meatless diet for 1 more week in a place that has one of the highest meat consumption per person in the world?